My wife secretly sold our family home for $350, $0 behind my back, stole the proceeds, and now she's suing me for half of what's left. I just found out she's been plotting this for years. I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here telling a story like this, but here I am. Honestly, I wish I could say I saw it coming, but I didn't. It all started with little things, small signs that I brushed off or convinced myself were nothing. You know how it is when you're blinded by routine, by comfort. My wife Lisa always seemed a little distant lately, like she was hiding something. She'd stay late at work, come home tired, and sometimes she'd get defensive if I asked questions. I thought maybe she was just stressed or working too hard. But looking back, there were moments I should paid more attention to. The little lies she'd tell about where she'd been, excuses she'd come up with when I'd ask about her phone. She started deleting messages, hiding her phone more often, and I just told myself she was probably just tired of me, or maybe she was having an affair but was too good at hiding it. Then one day I noticed her phone was left unattended. It was lying on the kitchen counter and I saw a message pop up on the screen. It wasn't anything explicit at first, just a generic text about meeting up after work, maybe a dinner plan. But the name on the contact was unfamiliar. That was weird. I looked closer. The message was sent from Mike, and it was flirty, something about how they couldn't wait to see each other again, how they'd meet up at that new bar downtown. My heart sank. I felt a cold punch to the stomach. I knew I shouldn't have read it, but I couldn't help myself. I didn't want to believe it, but the proof was right there. I sat there, staring at the phone, trying to process what I'd just seen. My wife, my partner of 10 years, was cheating on me with some guy named Mike. It wasn't just a one-time thing. I found out she'd been sneaking around for months, maybe even longer. I started digging through her emails, her social media. It was like peeling back layers of a lie I'd been living in. She was meeting him behind my back, lying about her whereabouts, telling me she was working late or out with friends. But the truth was, she'd been planning this entire betrayal for years. I found receipts, hotel bookings, even a bank statement showing she'd secretly sold our house, our family home, without telling me. She'd taken the money, $350, $0, and I had no idea. All while I was clueless, thinking we were saving up for a vacation or some future plans. The worst part. When I confronted her, Lisa just lied again. She everything at first, saying I was paranoid, that I was imagining things. She called me jealous, insecure. But I had proof, screenshots, bank records, messages. I told her I knew about Mike, about the money, about everything. Her face twisted into something bitter and contemptuous, like she enjoyed toying with me. She threw in some classic gaslighting, saying I was crazy, that I was overreacting, that I was imagining things. But I was. I knew she'd been planning this for a long time. It wasn't just about the affair. It was about the betrayal of everything I thought we had. I felt like my whole world was crashing down. The person I loved, the woman I trusted with everything, had been lying to me for years. I was furious, absolutely furious. Yet there was this deep, aching sadness too. How could she do this? How could she betray me and our family like this? I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. My mind kept replaying everything I'd discovered, every lie she'd told, every secret she kept. I started thinking about the house, our home, and the fact that she'd sold it behind my back with my money without even telling me. I don't think I've ever felt so betrayed in my life. I was angry, yes, but mostly I just felt broken, like I'd been punched in the gut and left to pick up the pieces. After I found out about the sale of the house and the affair, everything changed. I couldn't focus at work. I couldn't sleep at night. My mind kept circling around her lies, her betrayal, the money she stole from us. I kept asking myself how I didn't see it coming. How could I have been so blind? For years, I thought we were building a life together, saving for a future, planning vacations, dreaming about retirement. Turns out, she'd been planning her escape. For just as long as she was sneaking around behind my back, I decided I had to confront her again, face her directly this time. I needed answers, and I needed to hear her admit what she'd done. So I called her at work one day, told her I knew everything, the affair, the sale of the house, the money. Her reaction was instant. She snapped at me, accused me of spying, of invading her privacy. She called me paranoid, said she was tired of my accusations, but I wasn't going to back down. I told her I had proof, screenshots, bank statement, emails. That's when she finally cracked a little, her voice trembling, but she still refused to come clean entirely. Her excuses were ridiculous. She said she needed the money because she was tired of being stuck with me, that I didn't understand her, that I never listened. She claimed she was going to leave me anyway, that she'd met someone else, Mike of course, and that she was tired of pretending everything was fine. She also said she'd been planning to leave for a long time, that she'd been unhappy for years, and that I was just too blind to see it. But the thing that really made my blood boil was how openly she lied. She insisted she'd never sold the house, that I was making it up, that I was just paranoid. Meanwhile, I had the proof right in front of me. The bank records, the sale agreement, the transfer of funds. She was lying her ass off, trying to gaslight me into doubting my own eyes. That night, I sat alone in the house we'd shared, feeling like I was trapped in a nightmare. I kept thinking about the house, our home, and how she just sold it like it was nothing, like it was just another thing she could get rid of. My mind kept racing, trying to figure out what to do next. I knew I couldn't stay with her, not after everything I'd uncovered. I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak, a confusing swirl of emotions I couldn't quite process. I thought about the money, 350, zero, gone, stolen from us by her greed and lies. I thought about the future I'd lost, the trust I'd never get back. I realized I had to get out, get away from her, and figure out how to pick up the pieces. The next few days were a blur. I started gathering all the evidence I could, bank statements, emails, texts, anything that proved her deception. I contacted a lawyer and we started talking about how to handle the legal mess she'd created. She was trying to sue me for half of what was left, claiming I was abusing her or that I was trying to control her. But I knew the truth. She'd been plotting this for years, secretly selling the house, stealing the money, and lying to my face every step of the way. Now she was trying to turn the tables, make it seem like I was the bad guy. I wasn't about to let her get away with it. One thing that struck me the hardest was how she kept lying, even when I had proof right there in front of her. She called me names, said I was jealous, insecure, that I was making everything up. But I knew better. I knew the real story. She was a manipulative, selfish woman who'd done everything she could to destroy our life together. And I wasn't going to let her win. I started planning my next move carefully. Legal steps, separating our finances, figuring out how to get her out of my life for good. It was going to be a long, hard road, but I knew I couldn't stay in this nightmare any longer. The betrayal cut deep, but I was determined to reclaim what was left of my dignity and move on, away from her lies, her betrayal, her greed. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew I'd never trust her again. And honestly, that realization was both heartbreaking and freeing at the same time. The more I dug into her lies, the angrier I got. It's one thing to find out she cheated on me, but discovering she sold our family home behind my back, stole the proceeds, and then turned around to sue me, trying to take half of what's left, that's next level. I kept thinking, how did I not see this coming? How did I miss all the signs? I was completely. I had trusted Lisa more than anyone, and now I saw her true colors. She was nothing but a manipulative bitch with no regard for what we built together. After I got the proof, I decided I had to confront her. Again, face to face. I scheduled a meeting, told her I was done playing her game. She was furious when I told her I knew everything about the affair, the house, the money. Her face twisted into this sneer and she started with her usual lies. She said she never sold the house, that I was making it up, that I was paranoid. I pulled out the bank statements, the legal documents, the emails. She looked stunned for a second, then her mask of confidence slipped. She started to spin her lies even faster, claiming she'd been planning to leave me for years, that she was tired of living a lie. I couldn't take it anymore. I told her she'd been caught, that I had the evidence and it was over. The truth was, she'd been secretly working behind my back for years, selling our house, taking the money, lying about her whereabouts, and sneaking around with Mike. She kept trying to deny everything, but the proof was overwhelming. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut all over again. My mind kept racing. How could she do this? How could she betray me so completely? I was devastated, angry, and disgusted. All at once, Lisa's reaction was classic. She tried to manipulate me to turn the blame around. She called me jealous, insecure, said I was paranoid and overreacting. She even tried to make me feel guilty, like I was the one causing the problems. But I knew better. I knew she'd been lying from the start. I told her I was filing for divorce, that I wasn't going to let her get away with stealing from us and ruining everything. That was a turning point. I finally decided I was done with her lies, her betrayal, her games. I was sick of being the victim in my own life. In the days that followed, I started working with a lawyer, gathering all the evidence I had. I wanted to make sure I could get a fair settlement, and I wanted her out of my life for good. She was trying to fight me on everything, trying to claim she deserved half of what was left after she sold the house, trying to spin stories about how I was controlling or abusive. But I wasn't falling for it. I knew her game now. She was trying to manipulate the system to make herself look like the victim. But I had the truth, and I was ready to fight for what was rightfully mine. I all started sorting through the emotional wreckage. It's hard to describe how I felt: anger, betrayal, sadness, a deep sense of loss. I'd loved Lisa, trusted her, built a life with her, and she'd thrown it all away for some stupid affair and greed. The worst part was knowing she'd been planning this for years, pretending everything was fine while secretly plotting her escape. That realization made me feel sick. How could someone I loved do this to me? How could she lie so effortlessly and steal from us like that? The most shocking part, she kept lying even when I had all the proof. She'd deny everything, call me crazy, accuse me of trying to control her. She'd say I was just jealous or paranoid, but I knew the truth. I knew she'd been lying to my face for years, and now I was finally waking up to it. The betrayal was like a poison in my chest, but I refused to let it destroy me. I was determined to take back control, to protect what was left of my life, and to make sure she paid for what she'd done. I didn't know exactly what the future held, but I knew I'd never trust her again, and honestly, that felt like a small victory in itself. The legal process moved quickly after I hired a lawyer. I wanted her out of my life completely, and I wasn't going to let her manipulate her way into any kind of victory. She kept trying to spin stories, claiming I was abusive or controlling, anything to make herself look like the victim. But I had all the evidence. The bank records, the sale documents, the emails with Mike, everything. I knew she'd been planning this for years, secretly selling our home, stealing the money, and lying through her teeth. It was like a punch to the gut every time I thought about it. When we finally went to court, I was prepared. I laid out everything, showed the court the proof of her deception. She sat there, trying to maintain her composure, but her eyes darted around and her words were full of excuses. She tried to claim she was just tired, that she was unhappy, that she needed the money. But the judge saw through her lies. The evidence was overwhelming. She sold our house without my knowledge, stolen the proceeds, and now she was trying to take half of what was left. Her whole story was falling apart. The judge ordered her to return the money, and I finally got some sense of justice. But even with that, I felt hollow. The house was gone, our savings drained, and the woman I thought I knew was exposed as a manipulative liar. I realized I'd been living in a bubble, trusting her completely, and she'd betrayed me in the worst way possible. The emotional toll was brutal. I kept replaying all the moments I'd missed, her secret meetings, her lies, her sneaky phone calls. It was hard to accept that I'd been so blind, so naive. After the court case, I started the process of rebuilding. I moved into a new place, somewhere I could breathe without feeling suffocated by her lies. I cut all contact with Lisa, blocked her from my life as much as I could. It was painful. She was the mother of my kids, someone I'd once loved, but I knew I couldn't trust her anymore. The damage was done. I felt betrayed, angry, and exhausted, but I also felt a strange sense of relief, like I'd finally woken up from a nightmare I didn't even realize I was living. One of the hardest parts was dealing with the aftermath of her betrayal on my mental health. I found myself questioning everything: my judgment, my ability to trust anyone again. I had to go to therapy just to process it all. The pain of losing what I thought was a life built on love and honesty was immense. But I also learned some hard lessons. Never ignore the signs, don't be afraid to ask questions, and never assume someone's loyalty without proof. I wish I'd been more skeptical, more aware. I wish I'd seen through her lies sooner. Now looking back, I see how much she'd been planning her escape for years. The secret sale of our house, the affair, the lies about her happiness, everything was a calculated move to get what she wanted. She thought she could manipulate her way out of it, leave me broken and powerless. But I fought back. I took control of my life again, piece by piece. It's not easy. There are days I feel angry all over again, days I wonder if I'll ever fully trust anyone again. But I know I'm stronger than I was. I've learned that sometimes the biggest betrayals come from the people you trust the most, and you have to be willing to fight for yourself, no matter how hard it gets. Even now, after everything been settled legally, I find myself waking up some mornings with this gnawing feeling in my gut. It's like a residual shock, still processing how she managed to pull this off for so long, how she could lie to my face, sell our home, and then turn around and sue me for what's left. The betrayal runs deep, and honestly, I don't think I'll ever fully get past it. But I've started to see some clarity in all of this chaos. I've learned some things I wish I'd known before, and I want to share them because maybe someone out there needs to hear it. First, trust your instincts. I always thought I knew Lisa, that I could read her like a book. Turns out I was wrong. People can hide a lot behind a pretty face and a smile. If something feels off, don't brush it aside. Dig deeper, ask questions, demand answers. I ignored the little signs, her phone hiding, her sudden secrecy, and I paid the price. Now I realize that silence or avoidance can be a warning sign. Don't dismiss your gut feelings, no matter how uncomfortable they make you. Second, keep your financial affairs transparent and secure. I thought we were in this together, but she'd been secretly planning her escape for years. She sold the house without my knowledge, stole the proceeds, and I had no idea. That taught me to be more vigilant about money, check the accounts, know who has access, and don't assume everything is okay just because she says so. Financial betrayal hurts just as much as emotional betrayal, maybe even more because it hits your stability. Third, don't be afraid to fight for yourself. I was so shocked and hurt that I initially wanted to hide away, pretend it wasn't happening. But I realized I had to stand up and protect what little I had left, my dignity, my sanity, my future. The legal battle was tough, draining, and emotionally exhausting, but I had to do it. If you're in a similar situation, don't let anyone manipulate or gaslight you into submission. Know your rights, gather evidence, and seek help if needed. You deserve justice. Finally, I've learned that healing isn't linear. Some days are better than others. There are moments I feel strong, like I've finally taken control of my life again. But there are also days when I feel overwhelmed by everything I've lost. The house, the trust, the family I thought we had. And I guess that's normal. The key is to keep moving forward, even if it's just baby steps. Therapy has helped me understand my feelings, and reconnecting with friends and family has been crucial. You can't do this alone. Looking back, I see how naive I was. I trusted her blindly, and that trust was exploited. But I also see that I'm resilient. I survived her betrayal, and I'm starting to rebuild. I want others out there to know that even when it feels like the world is falling apart, you can come out the other side. You can reclaim your life. It's not about revenge, really. It's about justice for yourself and for your future. I don't think I'll ever forget what she did, but I also know I won't let her define me. I'll keep going one day at a time and hope that someday I'll find peace again. Now, as I sit here reflecting on everything, I realize how much this whole ordeal has changed me. I used to believe in the idea of forever, trusting someone completely, thinking that love was enough to see us through anything. But betrayal like this shatters that illusion. It's painful to admit, but I've come to see that sometimes people you love the most can hurt you the deepest. And the only way to survive is to accept that reality and find a way to move forward. I've learned that strength doesn't mean never falling apart. It's about how you pick yourself back up. I've had moments where I felt like giving up, where I questioned whether I'd ever be whole again. But I kept going, piece by piece. I've come to understand that forgiveness isn't necessarily for the other person, it's for yourself. Forgiving her doesn't mean I forget or that I condone what she did. It means I'm choosing to let go of the anger and pain that threaten to consume me. Forgiveness is about freeing myself from the prison of resentment. What I want to say to anyone reading this is that if you're going through something similar, don't be afraid to face the truth. Confront it head on, no matter how ugly it gets. You're stronger than you think. Protect yourself, your heart, your mind, your future. The betrayal might feel like the end of the world at first, but it's really just a new beginning. A chance to rebuild, to redefine what happiness means for you. I've come to appreciate the small things now, the quiet mornings, the moments of peace, the people who stand by you even when everything's falling apart. I've learned that healing isn't about forgetting what happened, but about learning to live with it and not letting it consume you. I still have scars, but they are part of my story, part of what made me stronger. So I want anyone out there who's reading this to know, you're not alone. Betrayal cuts deep, but it doesn't have to break you. You can come out on the other side wiser and more resilient. Trust your instincts, guard your heart, and never let anyone take away your peace. Life goes on, and so will you. And someday you'll look back and see how far you've come, stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever comes next.